You're listening to episode 308 of the Small and Supercharged podcast with Ria Freeman.
Hello and welcome to this week's Small and Supercharged podcast. It's a solo with me because, as one of my children now tells me, life is life, and it's been a bit of a manic few weeks. The summer holidays, we came back from Edinburgh earlier today on a plane. You don't say on the plane, but you say on the train. So it's just been a little bit chaotic. I've got 2 interviews I'm recording tomorrow for the next few weeks of podcast, but I had to an interview got rearranged, and what do you know, here we are, you're with me now. But it's a good one, and it is based a little bit on my trip to Edinburgh. So we headed up to Edinburgh over the weekend, and it was beautiful actually. If you've never been to Edinburgh, go, it's lovely. But we went and we did quite a lot of things yesterday, but one of which was something called the Potter Trail. So I'm going to give them a shout out because it was brilliant. And it's kind of inspired this whole podcast. I'm not going to tell you all about Harry Potter because buy the books, go on the trail, do all the stuff. It's awesome. But actually not just the story of Harry Potter is awesome. The story of how Harry Potter came to be is incredible. And so inspiring. Just so inspiring. But yesterday we went on this thing called the Potter Trail, which is a walking tour around Edinburgh. And the person leading it, who's called Charlie, so shout out Charlie, was just amazing. And I was talking about it to Lol, and we were just talking about how rare it is to find people who are just mesmerising, inspiring, and just really, really good people, and those that don't know it either. Now, I'm really lucky. I get to work with actually quite a lot of people who tick this box, who are incredible, inspiring grafters, who I take huge amounts of inspiration from. I mean, all the people I work with, I think I am drawn to them. And that's not in an arrogant way. I think that when I speak to people, when I hear their passion and enthusiasm, I'm completely sold on what they're doing. Obviously, I've got my own brain in my head and I can see that things work or don't work. But people could come to me and ask for help, ask for mentoring, coaching and support. They could have the same ideas, but the outcome's not necessarily the same for if I want to work with them. I don't work with people I don't like. I don't work with people I don't get. I don't work with people that don't inspire me and I don't find interesting and exciting. And that's not because I'm special or precious, but for me it's vitally important. If they're not excited about what they're doing, it's going to be incredibly hard to help them promote it. And they need to be good at what they're doing as well. And I just wanted to talk really about the importance of finding these good people, finding these inspiring people, spending time in their presence, understanding what makes them tick, and taking inspiration from that in the best possible way. And also, if you find these people, tell others about them. I'm seeing this as my duty to tell you about Charlie from the Potter Trail, laced in with everything else that I'm going to talk about today, about finding these good people. Because it turns out they're actually everywhere. I would not have expected to find somebody leading a walking tour around Edinburgh the only thing I wanted to talk about on today's podcast because of everything that they were. So yesterday, and this is in general terms, I'm really lucky I do work with some wildly talented people. But there are a few things that I think kind of mark these people out, and ones that I'm definitely drawn towards, but I'd love to know your thoughts as well. So these people they can be doing what could be to somebody else something quite mundane, but they make it their own. They're excited about it and they're passionate about it, and they make it out of the ordinary. You could go into for another example, there's a brilliant butcher's in Bridgnorth, and obviously they sell things that you'd find in a butcher's, meat and stuff like that. But the chap, I think it's called Mike, if not, I'm really sorry, is brilliant. He is engaged, he engages the children, he speaks to the children, he remembers them, to the point that now whenever we go to Bridgnorth, I get dragged into, quote, the children's favourite butcher. He is exceptional, not just because the quality of the product's great, but he brings something else to the table. So it could be, a butcher could be actually quite a job that people go in that maybe you can imagine them being there for ages, a bit grumpy. Actually, any job can be like that. When you've done it for a long time and people get kind of worn into that role, they can be quite grumpy. It's same stuff, different day. But they bring something to it that excites the people that they're speaking to, that they're spending time with. And whether this leads to a conversion, like with work, or whether it leads to increased understanding, it's brilliant. So these people, if we're trying to spot them, or if we're trying to be them, it's when we don't just look at something and kind of go, oh, it is what it is, let's just get through the day to get to the other side. It's when we look at a job and go, we can make this brilliant. And we can't do this all the time. We all have off days. We have some days we just think, oh, Jesus, no. But most of the time, we are trying to excite and engage people. We're trying to get them to understand. We're trying to get them to be inspired, to use their kind of brains in a different way, to think about things differently. If we're trying to do that ourselves, then what we hope is that the people who are watching us or interacting with us will take inspiration from that, will take something that we're doing, even if it's just the way that we're being, not necessarily our jobs or what we're good at, but just take something from that they can carry forward. Going back to yesterday and the walking tour, the information that was delivered was really, really fascinating. But if it was delivered in a very boring kind of way, like reading off a list, it wouldn't have been nearly as interesting or engaging. And the fact that, this person, Charlie from the Potter Trail, managed to keep the audience completely engaged, hanging on his every word for an hour and a half is real testament to that. His excitement, his enthusiasm, his knowledge was exemplary. And the way it was delivered was so, so engaging, which is what we can take from it. There are often examples that we see in our day-to-day life where we see these exceptional, inspirational, gifted people that you just kind of think, wow, that's amazing. And what I love about, lots of examples I can think of. So I keep thinking about lots of people that I work with as well, and how they embody this too, is that they don't go out of their way. They don't say, look at me, I'm inspiring, I'm gifted, I'm exciting. They just do it. They lead by example. They show what they're doing, not for the want of recognition, not for the want of having people say they're inspiring or gifted or any of the terms that I've just used. But they are, because they are deeply passionate about what they do. They understand what they do. They want to share it with other people, whatever this is. And it can be any subject, any job, any passion at all. But they've decided to, share with people in a deeply relatable way what they love, but not just in a kind of off-the-shelf reading. They really, really care. They are really excited about it. And that to me is the most interesting, brilliant thing. When we're moving this through to its kind of, how it works from a business point of view, if you have somebody that loves their business, that is passionate about their business, that engages with the audience, what that will then do is encourage others that message is getting to share that information. We know word of mouth is a really, really positive, really effective marketing method. I mean, we know social media is the kind of amplification of that, but the one-to-one side is huge. If someone gives you a personal recommendation, you're likely to take it seriously. So what happens is when these inspiring, gifted people cross our paths, we want to tell people about them, just like I'm doing with you now, because they're too good to keep to ourselves. When we find these amazing anything in life, butcher, baker, doctor, accountant, HR person, illustrator, you name it. You want to share it with people because you know it's going to bring them joy and excitement in the same way as it has done with you. But this is such a great marketing tool. Not deliberately, not in a kind of manipulative way, but you can't market a product, a business, a service, whatever, well, if the product is rubbish or if the person marketing it doesn't care about it and isn't interested, because that just filters through and no one cares at all then, which is not what you want. So what happens is if we have got that passion and that desire, and if we haven't got that passion and desire, we need to ask why we haven't. Is it because we really, really don't like it? Is it because we've got a bit with the whole thing? We're just tired and exhausted and we just can't be asked. What can we do to kind of inspire ourselves again? Do we need to change things? We need to change things up to make them more interesting and engaging so we can push that through to our audience. So when we are these people, when we are being creative, when we're putting ourselves out there, when we're getting in front of the camera, another key point here, thinking about social media particularly, is getting ourselves out there. People buy from people. Going back to yesterday, yes, the tour was great, but if that wasn't delivered by a person that was excited, I wouldn't be telling you about this today. I just wouldn't. Even though the content was awesome, I wouldn't. People buy from people. We need to be inspiring, exciting. We need to walk the talk. Is that the phrase? Not just talk it. We need to lead by example, to show what we're doing. I have got zero time for people who spend so much of their energy telling the world how brilliant they are with nothing to back that up. I just want to see their brilliance. I want them to show me what they do and why it's great, not tell me that what they do is brilliant and great, because that's just a waste of everyone's time. So by doing this, we're then getting that word of mouth out. We're then encouraging people to leave reviews, to share things, to put reviews on TripAdvisor, to leave us 5-star reviews, to write nice comments, to share on social media, which again helps us to build our business because we were just passionate about it in the first place. And also what we need to do is when we see these people and we get them, we need to be those people that share. We need to be those people that are inspired and excited and think, if I could give that person just a little bit of a leg up so others can get the experience that I've had and that person can carry on doing what they're doing, all the better. There are just people that are naturally brilliant at what they do. We can all be we are all naturally brilliant at something. We just need to find out what that is, because that allows us to be passionate and in turn inspiring. And when we see these people, when we spot them, they are like beacons of light. You won't miss them because they just hit you differently to anything else you've seen normally. In the kind of sea of mundaneness, there's that person that goes above and beyond, that is excited, that delivers a great level of customer service. These little tiny things, they don't even have to be big flashy things. They certainly don't have to be expensive things. It's in the foundations of what you do. We can do that. We can help to get people excited about what we do. And we can also help encourage people that are these leading lights, these exciting things, by celebrating them, by showing them off, by telling people, by being excited about them too. That all helps them it's sort of this amazing circle. And the more people out there, the more people are inspired. So it's a bit of a random one today, but it was all about just being that kind of inspirational person because you love what you do, and also how to spot these people and how to help them along their way. It's not all about us. It never has been and it never will be. There is no, the beautiful, beautiful phrase about, you don't lose, oh gosh, I'm butchering this, about a candle. A candle doesn't lose its light by lighting another. That's not the phrase. I will find it at some point. But we can share this. We can spot these people. We can support them in any way. It doesn't have to be money. We talk about this. I've talked about it quite a lot on social media, the share, the likes, the comments. It doesn't have to be money that we can celebrate people. But when we spot these people, we need to nurture them because they are such an integral part of, so much, that we need to treasure them and treat them as the special people that they are. And in turn, develop ourselves to be those inspiring people that get others excited about genuinely interesting things, but also the mundane and the things that make life just a little bit shinier. So on that note, I hope that's just giving you a bit of food for thought. I'd love to know if you found anyone wildly inspiring in your travels. If you have, I'd love to know. Please comment below today's post at Ria Freeman PR on Instagram. But also, just do something cool for them. Whether you put on your Instagram story that you've spent time with this person or bought something or the service was different, whether you reach out to them and tell them that they have been wildly inspiring to you and how excited you are about that, or whether you leave them a review. Can we have the podcast, this little podcast here, as the start of something really cool that gives people that lift up when they need it, that kind of whispers to them, keep going, you're amazing. Because we're all very quick to tell people when they're rubbish, but often we forget to tell them when they're great. I will speak to you next week with an interview, and I cannot wait to do that. Take care, and thanks for listening. Bye.